Just gotta throw her into regular and off we go. So, if you are like me and have a chronic disease, and you have reversed your chronic disease through diet, and then you try to tell other people who have chronic diseases that they can do the same, you are met with a lot more resistance than one might think. Especially if it's like your first time trying to tell somebody that they can change their life just by changing their diet. You'd expect people to be really open to it, because probably you were. But people get defensive. And there's a couple reasons for that, and everybody's going to have their own reasons. But one of the big reasons I've found is because people who have chronic diseases, or if not just people who have them, but like when somebody gets them, this is for most people, not just people who have chronic diseases, but most people just sort of like to be in the victim mentality. I mean, whether it's heart disease or cancer or autoimmune disease, diabetes, whatever, people actually like to be the victim, and it's a completely subconscious thing. You know, they think to themselves, you know, I'd like to not have this disease. I would like to, be my normal self that I was before I got this disease. But then when you try to tell them to change, they like to hold on to that victim mentality. And the reason for that is because if they're a victim, then they're just a bystander. They really have no control over what's going on, so then they're not responsible to change. Then they're not really responsible for their own health. It's up to the medical establishment to be responsible for their health. So it's out of their hands. They don't have to do a thing if you are a victim. If you don't see yourself as a victim, though, if you see yourself as someone who has if you see yourself as someone who can change the destiny of your health, then that's completely different. You have a lot of responsibility on your shoulders, and you got to do a lot of research. You got to change a lot of things, and it may take you a long time before you find that. You're going to find some ups and downs, and people just don't want that. People like to do the same things they've always done. People like to be creatures of habit, and that is one of the big things that I have found with people, is like they like to cling to their victim mentality. There are a lot of other reasons too. Like people will just think to themselves, like, why haven't I heard this? If it's so easy, if you did it and it's as easy as you claim it is, then why haven't I heard about this? And a big reason for that is because when you're depending on the medical establishment, they're not going to tell you to change your diet. And it's not because of some big conspiracy with the doctors. It's more of a conspiracy with the pharmaceutical companies. Because the doctors just haven't learned. They just haven't learned about nutrition. They learn about what a disease is. You know, they learn the specifics of diseases and their symptoms and their causes and stuff. And then they learn how to treat the disease. Actually, what they really do is learn how to treat the symptoms, not the disease. They don't treat the root cause of it. They treat, your pain that you're feeling. They treat the tremors that you have, or whatever it is that your disease gives you. They treat the symptoms, and that's all that the medical establishment does. But if you just keep pouring gasoline on a fire, it's only going to keep getting worse. And that's really what people are doing when they're choosing to eat a standard American diet and they choose to be a victim. So those are the two biggest reasons that I have found people are actually kind of resistant to your message when you tell them that you can change your life just by changing your diet. They like to cling on to a victim mentality, and they just think, hey, if it's so easy, why haven't I heard about it? Why hasn't my doctor told me about it before?